So by the time you're watching this, Mario Odyssey is already out. I might have missed that little timeline, unfortunately, but things came up. I went to Las Vegas to go see family. No, none of them were hurt in the unfortunate incident with, yeah. Anyway, I'm back. I'm here to start doing reviews again. And as you guys may find out, while I have a microphone, I don't have the sound card appropriate to use the dang thing. So, lucky me. But today we are talking about Mario Galaxy. I know I'd like to be talking about Mario Odyssey, but hey. You can only pirate so much before Nintendo. Yeah. Anyway, Mario Galaxy. Being on the Wii, it is basically the quintessential 3D Mario game on the Wii. It's not the only Mario game on the Wii by any means, and we're going to be talking about that next time, Mario Galaxy 2. But it is the quintessential 3D Mario game on the Wii. And yes, there's power stars, and this time there's some anti-gravity maneuvering. Ooh. I mean, you went to Peach's castle, you went to the beach. Where else could Mario go besides space? The final frontier. I am absolutely eager for this review. We'll do this review with the weapon that I started this marathon with. My axe! That's not even the same axe. Is that a xenomorph? Oh shit. Don't worry, I won't use it on you. Anyway, let's get this review started. We're kind of taking on Bowser again, but this time we're going after an entire galaxy. Don't worry, I have my newest minion, Wario, watching after my home base. What could possibly go wrong? Haha. Because, you know, I gotta have a Bubsy reference in there, too. Anyway, let's take on the galaxy! Mario style.
Yes!
So, starting with the plot, like every sane YouTuber does, Bowser kidnaps the princess. Where have I seen that before? However, this time Bowser actually plans on using power stars to power giant generators to take over the entire galaxy. Well, that's a bit new, I guess. Oh, and there's this character, Rosalina, that just kind of shows up to help you out. She's got a little bit of a connection to the ending of the story when turns out all these Lumas, the star people that she's kind of palling around with, turn into other things like new galaxies and reform new galaxies. Is she the origin to lives in the Mario universe? Is that it? It's just a recreation of another galaxy? Does she reset the whole thing? Maybe she hated the idea that her mother died, and so she just reset life in general. That would explain why, even though things blow up in the Mario universe, they never seem to die. But speaking of Rosalina, let's go talk about the characterization of this whole mess, I should say. Now, when I say mess, I'm talking about the entire characterization history of Mario. Mario has the personality of a rock, and not a fancy looking, just a plain everyday rock. Princess Peach actually changes her personality very often. Bowser is evil for the sake of being evil. Luigi is kind of a chicken, but second fiddle to Mario. Especially in this game. He works, but, you know, he's kind of a chicken afraid of ghosts. He's afraid of heights, which is funny because he jumps higher than Mario. You know, he's afraid of a lot of things in this game, and you gotta go rescue him, but he does find power stars for you. And Rosalina has the personality of... Wait, she actually has characterization in this. It's a bit more on the secrets and side quests category, but yeah, she's actually quite noble and really, really reserved. And this is part of her background story. Yes, she's given a background story. Again, it's part of the secrets and side quests. I'm going to be talking about it later, but there's actually characterization here. Bowser is actually characterized as well. Bowser Jr. has some pretty decent, you know, at least they follow what was started in Super Mario Sunshine. And even Mario, you know, he cares about Princess Peach, and it really shows in this game, which is kind of interesting. Everyone has their own quirks and personalities, which is nice for a Mario game. Now, let's talk about what everyone wants to hear about, the gameplay. Gameplay in Super Mario Galaxy is pretty fantastic. The long jump is back. Hallelujah. Mario, he moves a bit more slower and methodical, but it kind of makes sense with the level design. I'm not skipping the level design quite yet. I'll get to that in a minute. But the gameplay. Mario has a heck of a lot of mobility in this game, especially thanks to his kind of new spin jump. It's not new, but because it started out in Super Mario Sunshine, but it is nice. It is refined here because it gives you a little extra boost, so you can wall jump, spin jump to boost, and then dive to another wall, and it's really nice to have this kind of mobility. Everything else is pretty much Mario standard. You can shoot star bits, you can collect star bits with the Wii pointer, and to do this spin jump, you have to actually shake the Wiimote. Yeah, everything is mapped to the Wii remote now with the nunchuck. And, you know, it actually works really well, but the Wiimote itself is probably part of the problem because I have really long fingers and really big hands, and my hands have a tendency to cramp up when holding the dang thing. But that's not Mario Galaxy's fault, keep in mind. That's just a gripe I have with the Wii and the Wii U in general. Anyway, the gameplay is fantastic. You can use launch stars to get to the next parts of the level. You can basically spin into enemies now to knock them out to get star bits, or you can just jump on them for a coin. The spin jump can also be used to break things. Honestly, it's used for a lot of stuff. And then the Wiimote, there's small gimmicks to it. Besides waggling it for the spin jump, you can also point at star bits to collect them, as I previously mentioned. You can grab Mario in a sticky ball and shoot him places. That didn't sound awkward at all. You can also blow bubbles with it. Motion controls, I don't know. There's also a segment where you can kind of balance a ball. It's really awkward, though. I think the controls are awkward. I think the whole thing is just kind of done messily. But basically, you kind of stick the Wiimote upwards, and you're kind of just pretending that there's a ball on the top of the thing, and you're just kind of balancing it to get it to move where Mario needs to move. It's weird. It's bizarre. Yeah, probably the only downside to this. That and the manta ray, but the manta ray is more level design. The controls of the manta ray itself are perfectly fine. The level, however, makes it a little awkward. Anyway, the controls are fantastic. If you're worried about the gameplay for a Mario game, you're probably cruising up the wrong shit, more or less. Gameplay is awesome. But let's talk about that level design, because I've brought it up a couple times already. Boy, I am just cruising through this review, aren't I? I've decided to do shorter, more compact reviews, so you're not listening to me spiel for a half hour. So let's talk about the level design, as I brought up. The levels are a lot more linear for a 3D Mario game compared to Mario Sunshine and Mario 64. The sandbox feel of previous levels are no longer there. Instead, we get more concise mission structure and more concise missions. You're still getting power stars by the end of all this, but the sandbox design, if you're looking for more exploration-based gameplay, you're not going to find it here. What you do get, however, is levels that are really creative and really structured to test Mario's platforming capabilities. You have a level that's both fire and ice. You have all sorts of different levels. There's such a variety of levels. And because you can pick your missions, like Mario 64, you only need a certain amount of power stars to move on to the final boss fight, so to speak. So, as long as you have all those power stars and most of the grand stars, which are rewarded for big, huge boss fights with either Bowser or Bowser Jr. and the like, then you don't really need to visit each and every level or get all the power stars to beat the game. It's not like Mario Sunshine where you had to get, 7 shine sprites in each level. It's not like that at all. So, while it's not exploration heavy, you can pick and choose which missions you do. The levels are designed perfectly well around this as well. There's a bunch of secret levels that you can get, of course, and I'll talk about those later. But for the most part, the main levels, they're pretty good. They really are. Okay, here's the structure here. You have the hub world, which is probably the most linear hub world of all time. I don't like it too much because there's not really much to find around this hub world. It's just the Comet Observatory. You're just kind of running around it for the sake of running around a hub world. It's not great. It's not like Peach's Castle where there's a whole bunch of stuff to do and secrets to find and blah blah blah. The secrets here are not necessarily secrets. You have each dome, which allows you to go to all sorts of different galaxies and all the levels. Each dome has its own collection of levels, and the domes are pointed out to you, so it's not like you're exploring to go find these domes. Each dome also ends up with a hungry Luma beside it. You feed this thing enough star bits, which are the collectibles outside of coins. They're basically little colorful candies that you can feed to Lumas and hungry Lumas. And if you feed enough to hungry Lumas, you basically get a really cool extra level nearby. Think of them as currency to get to new levels. There's also comets, which, change up the level structure entirely, kind of, for extra power stars. All of this is just to collect all the power stars. The levels themselves are pretty decent. There's a couple minigame-esque levels, as I mentioned before, where you have to do something different, like floating on a manta ray. This isn't bad, but the level itself has these big, huge waves, and the game does not prepare you to deal with waves when playing the manta ray. Like, the manta ray controls perfectly fine, and it gives you a small tutorial on how to control them. That's great, but the tutorial is in flat water, so it's pretty easy to control them there. And then you get to the actual level where these big, huge waves are just knocking you all over the place, and it's like, oh, yeah, I was prepared for this, sure. I don't like structure like that. But for the most part, you don't have to deal with a whole lot of issues with that. You can just play the main levels perfectly fine. And when the game does throw in a boss fight, they're usually pretty good. My absolute favorite Mario boss fight is actually one of the bosses throughout this game. And he's not even a main boss. You technically don't even have to fight him. The level structure is great. It really is. There's a few hiccups here and there, but they're not big enough to hurt your overall enjoyment of the game. And the game is more linear, but if you're looking for a linear structure, it's still a good game. If you're looking for a good platforming level structure, this is perfectly fine. If you're looking for a sandbox platformer, well, Hat in Time just released recently. Haha! But let's get the elephant out of the room. Secrets and side quests. I say elephant in the room because let's face facts. The last couple of Mario games I didn't really have all that impressive secrets and side quests. Mario 64 had Yoshi giving you 100 lives, which is okay, you know, I mean, at least there was something there. Mario 64 DS had a slot machine that sucked because you already had a slot machine very similar to it. And Mario Sunshine literally had the middle finger. What does Mario Galaxy have to set this apart? An entirely new playable character. Oh. Yes, if you collect every power star in the game, you get to play as Luigi. Not only is it funny to watch Luigi go through the events of Mario Galaxy when, you know, clearly there's some oddities there, including another Luigi, but Luigi plays completely different than Mario. A whole new playable character in a 3D Mario game. That's awesome to me. That is amazing to me. But is getting there part of the battle? Is it worth it? Personally, yeah, it's worth it. Most of the power stars are fun but challenging. Like I said, the last level design, there's a few hiccups. Some of the Hungry Luma levels, almost said boss fights, some of the Hungry Luma levels are not the greatest, but for the most part, they're playable. Some of them are really good, actually. And then the mini-games themselves can be difficult, but hey, what are you gonna do? Now, for those of you who think, oh, hey, I'll just go through the game and get all the power stars and then beat Bowser and then play as Luigi. Except no, you can't do that. See, remember I mentioned the comets? Oh yes, aren't they fun? There's a couple different types of comets, some of which cause you to have only 1 point of health. Usually around a boss fight. It's real interesting. It's challenging to say the least, especially with some of these bosses. Ugh, Bouldergeist. Holy crud. But yeah, you basically can't get hit when dealing with the boss. There's some that basically put you on a time trial, which is incredibly generous anyway, so it's kind of like, no big deal. Some of these make everything move faster. There's only 2 of these. They kind of add some more challenge to it, but not too awfully much. They're bearable. However, when you beat the game, every main level with more than 1 star ends up with purple comets too. These replace the 100 coin runs that you had to do for Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine. Oh yes, they're a bit more compact, to say the least, which is definitely nice. Gone are the days dreading 100 coin challenges. There's still a few hard ones here and there, but they're pretty compact and actually not nearly as bad as the previous 100 coin challenges. That's for sure. But to get to these challenges, you do have to beat Bowser at least once. And then after doing all that, you have to beat Bowser again to unlock Luigi. Then, if you play the entire game out as Luigi, and get all 120 power stars again, you actually unlock a cute little secret level. I haven't yet, but it's just another 100 coin run with Mario in the area that you start out as. So you can just go and play that when you want to. There are also green power stars. Don't worry, they count to the 120 power star collection. To get them, they're basically kind of hidden. One, you need Luigi for, so you have to go save him in one of the levels so he can start collecting a few power stars for you. One is a secret green power star in a one power star level, so there's actually 2 power stars. And one is another secret power star in just kind of a regular level. When collecting all 3, you actually get the motion control challenge of the year, where levels that are designed specifically around the motion control gimmicks, like the blowing the bubble thing, the ball thing, and surfing, these levels, yeah, those unlock just 3 regular power stars, but they're challenging, they're alright, and there's so many stinking star bits in one of them that it's actually a great place to farm extra lives if you're actually having that much trouble. Hey, worthwhile reason to even go look into it. But it just unlocks 3 regular power stars to get that sweet playable character bonus. Outside of that, there's also Rosalina's storybook. You collect enough power stars, you get a chapter of Rosalina's storybook, which I highly recommend going and looking into. Basically, you'll have the whole storybook unlocked before you go and face off against Bowser. But, again, you have to actually go and read the thing. Rosalina will actually read it to the Lumas, and Mario just happens to be there. But, it kind of delves into her past, and she has quite an interesting past. Kind of talks about her mother dying, the fact that she has a brother somewhere, all sorts of different interesting tidbits into the Mushroom Kingdom. It raises a lot of questions and raises a lot of theories. I'm not going to speculate here on that particular theory. I don't really have a theory of my own on this one, believe it or not, but other games I'll definitely get into more theories. Anyway, back to Galaxy. The secrets and side quests are awesome. There's just a ton to do. It's worthwhile collecting everything. It's not even that bad of an experience collecting everything, because there's not just bullcrap difficulty spikes in some of the challenges like there were in Super Mario Sunshine. But there is definitely a bit of challenge if you go for everything. But again, getting Luigi is definitely rewarding. Now, is it totally rewarding to go through everything again as Luigi just to get to that last level? I don't think so, personally, but hey, at least there's something there. And a new level, I mean, as small and short as the level may be, at least it is a new level. And that's nice. So, let's wrap this review up, shall we? All in all, Super Mario Galaxy is, in my opinion, probably the best 3D Mario game that I've reviewed so far. Honestly, there's not really much wrong with it. The characterization is awesome, especially with Rosalina, who has literally the most background story of any character in the Mario universe, and a lot more background than some Legend of Zelda characters, which is pretty cool. The plot is serviceable. It's good, but it is a typical Mario plot. It's really simple, but it works and kind of makes things interesting. It definitely makes things more dire. You're not just saving the princess here, you're saving everything. And getting power stars. Yay! Secrets and side quests are definitely worth it this time around. There's a lot of secrets to behold. Rosalina's storybook is definitely worth a look into. And playing as Luigi, an unlockable character, just awesome. The level design, again, there's a few issues here and there, but they are so few and far between that honestly the overall experience is definitely great. And the gameplay is the same way. There's 1 or 2 hiccups when they force in motion controls, but hey! The gameplay is definitely a solid Mario game. If you guys couldn't tell, Mario Galaxy gets a 10 out of 10. It is that good of a game. The only real drawback is that it's not really exploration based. If you guys really like the exploration of Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine, you might be a bit disappointed here. But as a platformer, this game gets it right. It is fantastic from beginning to end. Heck, I didn't even talk about the power-ups. The power-ups... actually, the power-ups are probably the worst part of the game. They're okay, but they function specifically for missions only. Hey, you need to get up honeycombs? You're gonna need Honey Mario, or Bee Mario. It's that simple. They play perfectly fine, too. They're just almost incredibly forgettable. Huh. So if you're a big deal on the power-ups as well as exploration, you're going to be disappointed. But let's face facts, fans of power-ups from the 2D games have been disappointed with 3D Mario games for quite some time now. At least leading up to Mario Galaxy. Hopefully, Mario Galaxy 2 gets it right. Maybe includes Yoshi or something like that. Either way, next time we meet, we're going to go with Super Mario Galaxy 2! It's time to re-look into my treasure list. Oh, I've gotten quite a few treasures from this game. Some spaceship parts, technology from the Comet Observatory, 120 power stars to add to my non-existent catch of powers? What? What? Started working with your old friend Tatanga? Who? And together we've taken over your home base of operations. I've also stolen all your treasure. Wahahaha! Your new employee? Wario! You're going down, you little punk! How dare you steal from me! Scratch what I said. Next time we're going after Wario in Super Mario Land 2. I'll do Mario Galaxy 2 afterwards. This means war! Have a great time, minions.